Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Logan, and it is June 14th, 2026. The New York Knicks have just made history. They've won the NBA Finals for the first time since 1973. Not going to do the math. Well, I take that back. It's about 50 ish years, give or take, since they last won, so congratulations for them. They deserve that title. It was hard fought. Me as a Spurs fan, I'm sure you can tell by my Dylan Harper shirt that my allegiance is clear. It didn't go the way we wanted, but unfortunately, that's just sports sometimes. That's life. You have to go through rough patches to get to success. It's not always straight to success. It's a very young team. They still have plenty of places to grow and things to work on. So I'm going to break down what the Spurs should be doing better, some stuff they needed to work on that they could not make adjustments on, and stuff the Knicks did really well. You have to give credit where it's due, and I think the Knicks deserved every bit of that. So I'm going to start off with Spurs. So first of all, this one's pretty obvious. If you've been keeping up with the series, you've been realizing that De'Aaron Fox has not been playing his usual style of basketball. Usually Fox is a very crafty player. He's very fast, he's shifty, he's unpredictable, he can really pass the ball. He's a great all-around player. The Spurs traded for him sometime last season in hopes that he would be able to build a championship contending team, and he did. But this finals, he was absolutely nowhere to be found. It seemed that Spurs fans believed that he did more harm than good for the team this playoff run. Honestly, yes, there were some things he could have worked on. Does he deserve all that hate? Probably not. He's human. He's never been to the finals. He was stuck with Sacramento, which was a lot more of an unsuccessful franchise than the Spurs. He's not used to competing like that. I don't think none of those guys were. They've never been there except maybe Harrison Barnes, and Barnes didn't get that much playing time. But I think we can all agree that this guy, Dylan Harper right here, he's special. He's a rookie. Well, I guess not anymore because his season is over. But next year he will be a sophomore. This will be his second season in the NBA. And in an elimination game, Game 5 that just happened, he scored 25 points. More than Wemby, more than Fox, more than Castle. Castle had a bad game, surprisingly. He usually balls out. But I don't know. I guess something just didn't click with him tonight. But Dylan Harper is really special, and I think having him come off the bench, yeah, sounds right because he's a rookie and he's young. But he plays a lot better with more tenacity and aggression than Fox. Even for a rookie, he makes less mistakes and is more practical with his decisions. And I think having him start over Fox would be more beneficial for this team. Most basketball and Spurs fans alike would probably agree with that statement. Not saying we need to get rid of Fox, but I think Dylan deserves a starting role more than he does. Number 2 is getting Wemby in the paint. This aggravated me. I get it. Wemby can shoot, he can dribble, he can do all these sort of acrobatic moves. But when you got a guy that's 7'4" and is taller than everyone else on the floor, and he's just shooting threes and taking step-back jump shots, no, that can't happen. He needs to be in the paint. He needs to be driving there every single possession. If he's not getting the ball, then he's getting a rebound. If he is getting the ball, then he's catching a lob 12 feet above the ground and throwing it down, or he's getting fouled, and it's points every single time because it's either free throws or buckets. Now, Wemby did miss some free throws and he missed some layups, but quite frankly, he just wasn't playing as well in the finals as he was as compared to the Western Conference Finals or the rest of the playoffs. Number 3 is calling timeout. So for Mitch Johnson, I feel like people want to be so quick to blame the players like Fox or Castle or Wembanyama. But Mitch Johnson, this is his first year being the full head coach of the Spurs team. But Mitch Johnson also had lots of opportunities. I remember there was times I'd be watching the games. There he'd have multiple timeouts. And the Knicks, you know what they do? They gain that momentum in the second half. They go on those runs. They score points. The Spurs can't provide an answer. And what does he do? He keeps letting them play. And me, I was freaking out because I'm like, no, like New York is getting momentum. I'm like, timeout, timeout, timeout. Obviously that can't work, right? Because you're just watching the game from afar. But it's like if you're Mitch Johnson and you see the other team gaining momentum and your team can't provide an answer, Why are you letting them play? It's only going to get worse if you keep letting them play. So call a timeout, stop the bleeding, regroup, and take the momentum back so we don't lose those games. I'm pretty sure we lost at least 3 of those. Pretty heartbreaking fashion. Game 4 was the worst, but I think Game 5 kind of just sealed it. Wasn't even sad, just kind of disappointed with how it ended. But for Mitch Johnson, yeah, there were some coaching errors, like the whole Harper over Fox should have been like that instead of Fox starting. And Harper should get more minutes. I think Carter Bryant should get more minutes too. He's a great defender, brings great athleticism and tenacity off the bench. But what happened, happened. He will learn from those mistakes in the seasons to come. Number 4 is holding leads. I mean, this is probably the most obvious one. The Spurs jumped out almost every single game with an early lead, from as many as 29 to as little as 10, 12, 15. I'm pretty sure almost every single game the Spurs would start strong, they get a lead, they get some momentum. Good, that's how you want to do it. You want to start strong, you want to set yourself up for greatness, but what the Spurs really need to work on is closing, because they cannot hold on to a lead if it meant their lives. If the Spurs can figure out how to keep that momentum heading into the second half, then they can be a great team. But right now, it's just something they got to work on because they can't close it, they haven't been there, they need experience, but that'll get better, that'll progress in due time. Number 5 is cutting back on threes. Very often I see the Spurs get a steal or a block, they capitalize off a turnover, or at least try to. They bring the ball down the other way, fast break opportunity, and they settle for a 3. If you watch the series, you saw how well New York shot the 3 ball. I'm going to talk about that in a second. We could not even make shots when we were open. When they were open, it was almost guaranteed. But the Spurs, when you let the guy open, or they'd settle for bad shots, bad threes, like on a fast break or whatever. It's like, get open, drive to the basket. You're on a 3-on-2 or whatever. Take advantage of that. But again, something they got to work on. Just, pass up a good shot for an even better shot. Number 6, last point before I move on to the Knicks, is just being more aggressive, right? We saw it especially in Game 4 going into halftime with that 20, 30-point lead. I mean, you just saw their tenacity drop. Their aggressiveness stopped. They stopped being aggressive. They didn't chase rebounds. They just settled for threes, and they just gave up. It's almost like they thought the game was over, and it wasn't, because the Knicks are a second-half team, and they will punish you if you become complacent with your lead, or anything for that matter. But if they're more aggressive, the Spurs can be more aggressive on offense and chase rebounds. I don't know why Wemby was always outside the three-point line on offense and defense. Like, dude, get in the paint. You're 7'4" for crying out loud with like an 8-foot wingspan. You should be getting every single rebound. You should be in the paint, not jacking up threes, unless you're just really on fire. But they just need to be more aggressive. Do everything I said, and they'll be right back in it next year. Now the Knicks obviously number 1 is just Brunson, fearless. I mean, he may be the smallest guy on the court, but he's the bravest. He would always attack the basket, that left-hand side. Spurs could not even find a way to stop him, even though they knew it was coming. Couldn't put Wemby there, and no one could stop him. Now Harper, not Castle, because that's just his strong suit. Brunson's a great player. I'm going to give him his credit, but the Spurs just did not have an answer. And that attacking with Brunson is what kept him in the games. Why he had a 45-point, game-winning finals. It's because he played with that tenacity. He played basketball the right way, and that is how you win championships. You attack. You play basketball by driving, getting a good shot. Best percentage shot is the closest to the basket. That's exactly what Brunson did. Even as a very small player on the court, he didn't let Wemby or Cornette or Fox or Castle, Harper, whoever, intimidate him. He played through that. Number 2, they shot the 3 ball a lot better than the Spurs. Very often, you'd see them get open, swing the ball. Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG, every time they got the ball, it was knocked down, almost automatic. They shot that really well, and it worked out for them. I know the Spurs would try to shoot threes, but they weren't nearly as good as the Knicks were shooting it, so you got to give them credit there. Number 3 was rotating on offense to always find an open man. I can't tell you how many times the Spurs would play good defense just for the Knicks to keep swinging the ball to find the next best available man, and boy did it work. They keep swinging it, and the Spurs kept having to make all these defensive rotations, and boom, Mikal Bridges is open, boom, Josh Hart is open, OG's open. And what do? They knock down those shots. It's not like the Spurs where they miss and immediately give it up after, just acquiring a steal. They knock those shots down. That kind of goes with my second point. If they're shooting threes, they're rotating on offense, finding a guy open to take a good shot. It worked out well for them. Number 4, rebounding. The Knicks did this really well, especially on offense. I cannot tell you how many times the Spurs should have a defensive rebound that Mitchell Robinson or Karl Anthony Towns or even a guy like Hart jumped in and saved and gave them multiple opportunities. Realistically, they should have only got 1 rebound, but I remember there were possessions where they got maybe even 2, 3 in one possession, and you give them at least 2, 3 chances, they will capitalize. So credit to them, because their rebounding game was a lot better. They were more aggressive. They would fight and fight just to get a basket to go in, and it worked very well for the New York Knicks. Number 5 is staying in the game. I mean, they stayed in every single game, even Game 3. When they were down at MSG, they stayed close. They didn't win that one, but Game 4, they came back from a 29-point deficit, and I knew once they won that game, the series was over. Even as a Spurs fan trying to be optimistic, when you blow a 29-point lead, yeah, it's wraps. I mean, how do you do that? It's the worst blown lead in NBA history. But hey, you know what? Spurs got a lot to learn. They'll grow from that, if anything, and use it as fuel for the fire moving into next season. But yeah, I give credit. The Knicks stayed in the game, even down 27, down 15, down 12. They kept in the fight. After a bad first half, they're a second-half team. That's what they do. Then again, it's not about how you start, because the Spurs would always start strong, but they couldn't close the door. It's about how you finish, and that's exactly what the Knicks did exceptionally. and it's what won them the finals. Number 6, honestly, is just defying odds. The Knicks, they hadn't won a championship since 1973. That's when the Spurs were founded. The last time the Spurs won was in 2014, so only 12 years ago, not that bad. They hadn't even won in 53 years. I don't know if that's right, but I'm just going to take a guess. It's a pretty long time to go without a championship, so they defied the odds. People were saying whoever won the West, whether it be San Antonio or whether it be Oklahoma City, that was most likely going to be the title contender for the favorite. No, that was not the case. They put a gentleman's sweep on the Spurs, beating them in 5 games. I don't even think OKC could have beat the Knicks, and that might sound ridiculous. I mean, OKC could have beat the Spurs, and if the Spurs could have beat the Knicks, what makes you think the Thunder can beat the Knicks? Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, if the Thunder were in it, they would have taken care of the Knicks in 6 games. Yeah, see that to the guys that were on a 13-game winning streak, and they had Jalen Brunson. Yeah, I don't think Shea's free throw merchant having ass would have been able to stop the New York Knicks. Because they were hungry. I mean, the Thunder, they had just won a championship. The Spurs were young. They were getting a little too complacent because they won the West, and they thought, that was it. Spoiler, it wasn't. And that's what fueled the fire for the Knicks, is just defying all odds, persevering. And they won. They deserved every single bit of that title. 2026 NBA champion, New York Knicks. It was still a great series. I mean, overall, from an unbiased perspective, obviously for Spurs fans, not what you want to see, but it's part of the learning process. And we will be back. Spurs will be back in the finals, and it's only a matter of time before they start succeeding. But just wanted to come on here and say congratulations to the New York Knicks. They deserve that championship. And now I guess it's time to watch the World Cup or baseball, whichever one you prefer. I'll probably lean towards baseball, but my sister likes soccer, so I'll probably watch the World Cup too.